All right. Well, everyone, welcome to our Monday night call. I get so excited for our team calls every single Monday and what we have to bring to you every single Monday. And when our guest popped on tonight, I'm like, dang, she looks hot. Like, look at her. You guys, Kjersti Cody looks amazing. And we love you, Kjersti, and all that you have done for all of us. And we're so blessed to have you here. And so I'm going to, Robert, I kind of stole your thunder a little bit, but I was just so excited to see Kjersti. I haven't seen her for so long. So I'm going to turn the time over to the amazing Robert Arthur, who on this call loves Robert Arthur. Like, just give me some hands and claps. And he is the most consistent business partner that I have. And I'm so grateful for that. Consistent and persistent. And he's the one that is on the ball 24/7. So Robert, from my heart to yours, and from all of our hearts, we love you and we adore you and thank you for being here. So for those of you who are new to this call, welcome. And I really want to introduce Robert and let you know that Robert has been super successful in network marketing, leading a huge team over, I think, 20,000 people. I don't have his bio in front of me, but a lot of people have been very successful. Not only that, but he is an outdoor enthusiast. And he actually was on, Robert, what is that thing that you do where you ski with the archery? What's it called?
It's called ski archery. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was good. Ski archery. And you competed nationally for that, right? Yeah. And he has done so many, he's just an endurance athlete. And I love when he talks about that because his nutrition is super important to him. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Robert. And will Joy be with you on this call? Is she in the background or no?
We'll see if we can round her up.
Okay, so Joy is his honeybee, and I love both of them. I'm super excited to have them here at Zalevo. So Robert, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Miss Jill, AKA sister from another Mr. and Jim, brother from another mother, all these acronyms. This is family. Anyway, so we want to, again, thank you, Jill. And I received that. What a beautiful community, isn't it? Knowing that we're all in the same mission together. We have, open hearts and on a mission to impact lives. So our speaker tonight, our main presenter, are these families. Kjersti, yes, Kjersti will be one of our trainers and going more in depth into nutrition, how it works, why it works, some of the results we're all getting. And then I'm sure, Kjersti, I'm sure you would agree that the VIPs, can you help me out, Jill, there? So the VIPs on the line, first, each and every one of you showing up on this call. And in just a moment, we're going to hear from a few families, and they're the VIPs as well because they're heroes. They show up every day for our future generation, our kids. So, so before we go there, Kjersti comes from, oh my goodness, several decades of being immersed in wellness, formulation, nutrition. And then she spent many years, over 18, 19 years with a previous company that reached the $1 billion mark in this beautiful industry. Kjersti is also, she was gratefully recruited by our beautiful wellness community, Zalevo. And because of that, Kjersti brought us these beautiful world-class formulations. She's gathered a team called Zalevo Labs. She's now the director of that lab team, and all these beautiful nutritionists and biochemists and experts at their craft of helping bring the best of nature into our body so the body can be the miracle it was designed to be. And we love this lady. Speaking of people we love, people full of light, people on a mission, people who truly goes above and beyond. And so welcome, Miss Kjersti.
Wow, thank you, Robert. Thank you. It's great to be here with everybody.
Isn't it fun?
So much fun. I love it. I was just having a conversation with someone that I know quite well, and we were talking about what we do for a living, and this particular gentleman, he goes, I work hard every day. He works 7 days a week just because of the industry that he's in. based because it's seasonal, right? It's a pro team. And he goes, I go to work every morning and I work long hours and it never feels like work because he loves it so much. And this is the same that applies for me too. I just love it. I'm like a kid in a candy store. It's fun.
It is fun to be with people who share this mission, Kjersti. So thanks for being here. And guys, for those who don't know this, I think all of you do, probably on the recording and the live. The theme tonight is healthy moms, healthy kids. And obviously there's a few proud dads and granddads on the line too as well, with big smiles on their face. So Kjersti, with your permission, I'm laughing. I'm smiling really big because of this family we're about to, if you can, hopefully you can see the screen there. So Kjersti, can we go to these about 2 or 3 beautiful families first?
Oh, yes.
So first of all, let's go to, you are in Hurricane, I'm assuming, Chris and Marissa. Okay, so I want to welcome you guys. And this is a family that I just met, actually through virtually. I haven't even gave them a big hug yet, but it's because of mainly, Jim, help me out here. It's mainly because of David and Jerry that we're blessed with this family.
That is correct. They're neighbors.
So if you're watching this, Jim Rhodes, who obviously we all love Jim, and he shared this beautiful gift with one of his neighbors, David and Jerry Hinton. If you haven't seen that video and his story, please do, whatever you do. And then they had the gumption and the love in their hearts to reach out to the Johnson family. So first of all, Chris and Marissa, so welcome to the call tonight.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. So first of all, how are you guys introduced to Zalevo?
So as you mentioned, it was the Hintons. They just said that they had something that they wanted to share with us. We've known them since we've moved out to Hurricane since 2017. And so we've got to know them quite well. My wife, she actually helps them with they have an Airbnb just below their house in their basement. And she's been helping them with that for about 2 years, with helping them clean after people leave. So we've gotten to know the Hintons very well. And then just one day they just said, hey, can we come over? We have something that's been working for us. They're these shakes, and we just wanted to share them with you guys because we know they've been working for us. And they let us try. They made a shake for us, and that's all it took.
That's all it took.
I've tried plenty of shakes before in the past, and nothing ever made me as full as having an Ultra 30. Usually I'd have a shake, and then about a half hour later, I'd be like, okay, when's dinner? I went almost 4 hours before I was like, am I still hungry? I don't know. Maybe I should eat. I'm not sure what to do. I don't really feel hungry. And it was weird for me. I wasn't used to
it. Well, that's fun. And Marissa, were you kind of spectating, or are you in on the fun from the very beginning? What happened with your?
Well, I don't have really a nutrition background per se, but I took a nutrition class when I was in college, and looking at the ingredients on the back of the shake packages, I recognized quite a few of them, and being naturally based, or I don't know how to put it, but I was excited right off because of that. And now after taking the shakes and actually using them in my life, I've really felt a difference, just in how I feel, my energy levels. Another thing that was surprising, and I don't know how this works, I'm sure you guys could answer this, but it almost feels like it stimulates a different part of my brain when you're drinking your nutrition instead of just eating it. So I don't know if that's scientifically based or not, but that's just how it feels to me. But anyway, so as I've been drinking the shakes, I'm craving water more. I'm feeling fuller longer. I'm eating smaller meals at mealtime, and just overall just really excited and motivated to make this a lifestyle thing, not just some diet or some temporary thing I'm using as a band-aid to fix my eating struggles. So I struggle to eat at night as well sometimes, and so I sometimes make just a little bit of little bit of shake at night.
There we go.
And that does it for me, but I know that it's just a lot sometimes to handle a lot of, breaking a lot of habits at once. So that was one way I felt like I could do that. And it still have it benefit me, just choosing a better thing, I guess, over what I was having. And yeah, for the kids, like they're all in and they're all for it. They had Chris order each of them a shaker bottle because they're very excited.
Hey, Marissa, hey, Chris, and Marissa, your audio, Marissa, comes in and out. So if you can get closer to the microphone, but
Okay, let's see, we're gonna have to move it. There we go. I've been trying to work on the mic most of the day since this morning when I was having some wonderful mic issues.
no problem at all. So in essence, what are the main, say, 2 or 3 benefits you've seen with your kiddos and your family? I know you've shed how much weight yourself?
I'm almost to 30 pounds
Wow.
down now.
Yeah,
And then my wife, she's almost to 10.
that's awesome.
So
And what have you seen with your kiddos?
with them, just not that they need it, but definitely more energy. There was, what was it, about 2 weeks ago? This one, she's 5, so she woke up and it was, we were trying to get ready for church and she woke up and she just didn't look like she was doing too good, like she wasn't feeling good. And I was thinking, oh, we're gonna have to keep them home today. And I had the thought, okay, give her a shake. Just give her, 10 ounces shake, and then give her just a little bit of E-Vibe. Like I gave her just like that much, and she just perked right up, and like the color came back to her face, and she looked fine. We went to church, and she felt great. And it just,
Hopefully that was legal to do.
it was just a little bit, but it was mostly just the shake, just having that full burst of just the vitamins and minerals and stuff really kind of just helped her feel better.
And you put a little catalyst in there with it. So that's
Just very, very small.
very.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't need that much energy. They already have plenty, but they love it, and they notice when it's healthy. They love healthy things, and just by taking those Lego shakes, it's been good for them.
I love it. So girls, can you do us a favor? Okay, so I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, and just the girls, just you 3. See if you can beat your mom and dad. Just yell out Zalevo, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Go for it.
Let's all give the Johnson family a big hand.
Thank you.
You guys rock. You're all beautiful. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Marissa.
Well, thank you. Okay.
Wow. How does that make you feel, Kjersti, when you can bless families like that?
Oh man, this is what it's all about. This is why we do what we do, day in and day out, right?
Yeah, and we'll have to come back around to you about the two creative results. So let's in the meantime, let's go to Swayze. So Swayze, remind me where you're based out of.
I am in Utah in a little town right now called Fountain Green, but we're moving to Elsinore, which is by Richfield. So
Another big metropolis. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, welcome. And I just found out today, because I've gotten to know you through how you're supporting people, you're stepping up. You obviously love this nutritional system here. You mentioned you had kiddos who were also loving the formulation. So I'd love to hear kind of how you were introduced and some of the maybe 2 or 3 things you were looking for. What's shifted here, just in a nutshell?
Okay. Well, gosh, where do I start? Because there's so many. So I think the biggest thing recently, I have a kid diagnosed with ADD.
We have
and
to be
one
frank.
diagnosed.
So he had maybe he was quick to, he couldn't focus very well. How's that?
Yeah. And I have one that was diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome. So
Okay.
he had a really, really bad tic. We got worried that he had like a brain tumor because his eyes were doing this crazy roll thing. And I recently started doing more of the shakes with them. And I have noticed with my son who has Tourette's, his attitude with everything has like completely flipped ever since I upped his dosage of shakes, which is crazy because now I have to like control him from having too much because he's like, I need another shake. I need another shake. And I'm like, dude, you've had 4 today. Like, we got to stop. Like, you're good. And I've also noticed how much the stress support, the Fortitude 85, has helped with that too. And my daughter's ADD, I actually took her completely off her medication and I gave her Fortitude 85 a daily and an e-vibe.
Okay, so Swayze, just bear, so you supported her and you were able to give her great nutrition. Yeah.
Yes. So I took her off it though, because I wanted to see what Zalevo could really do for her off her medication. And it was amazing. Like I felt like it just completed it for her. And I'm so happy about it because what mom wants to be putting their kids on medications that we don't know, like the side effects that in the future could cause them and things like that. So it was really, really great to see that.
Yeah,
And
go
even
ahead,
with the
Jim.
e-vibe, it was awesome. Like I couldn't believe I filled her a jug full of water, put the e-vibe in it, and it helped her so much. It was insane. But my
Swayze,
kids just love
can I
it.
jump in just for a second there?
Go ahead, Jim.
And say one thing that is really important, because a lot of mothers are going to hear this, and this is good to know, and miraculous almost, but generally you do not take a child off of any meds without consulting your physician, just to be safe, so that the side effects aren't even worse. So we always advise, when you're putting this nutrition in, while you're watching it, get your doctor to observe and see if they can back off of those kinds of meds. That's the safest way to do it, and how we would generally recommend anybody do that, just so we'll be compliant too.
No, I totally agree. Like I've talked with my doctor and
oh, good.
I've talked about that with him, and see, like he's even gone as far as saying that she could just go off it on the weekends and then go back on it whenever she needed
Okay,
to.
so you had consulted.
Mhm.
This is great
Yes.
to know. Good for you.
I have consulted with them, and I don't know, as a mom, I just look for alternatives to help my kids. So if I can
Beautiful.
get them off that stuff, then I'm all about doing the natural way. So
Yeah.
but no, my kids, they adore it. They love it. They love what it does for me. They love what it does for my husband. So it's been miracles for our family.
That's awesome. Well, Swayze, thanks for all you do, and obviously loving your kids enough to step up and obviously demonstrate that by getting great nutrition into their bodies. So thank you for that. So, all right, Miss Kjersti, we're going to come back to you. And first of all, we can maybe talk about a couple of the creative ways the Johnson family was using, and then the products. And then can you just address, this is a company, we use this call as a training call too, along with presenting our formulations. Can you just address the need for compliancy in our posture in the marketplace, and just why that's there?
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, it is an honor to be here with everybody tonight. I'm so excited. I hope you guys learned some good stuff today. Feel free to take notes. And of course, we'll go through some questions and answers towards the end, but compliance is, it is so important. As a matter of fact, I just compiled a substantial amount of information in regards to compliance and how to actually share your stories compliantly, and what to say and what you can't say. So let's say if it's fatigue, you can't say after starting Zalevo, my fatigue is gone, because fatigue is a diagnosis. It's a diagnosis. But what you can do is describe how you felt.
I think we need to.
For instance, instead of saying fatigue, you can say, I was exhausted all the time. I was tired all the time. I didn't have that oomph or that zest of life. Let's say if depression is the issue, instead of saying depression, which is obviously a diagnosed term, you can say, in the pits of despair, I was sad all the time, day in and day out, even in moments where I should have been feeling happy. That is, so if you can take time to describe it, then that is always the key here. And why is this? And it's because the FDA requires us to do so. So the entire nutraceutical space, we work with nutritional like components, macro and micro components. They are supplements, and it's very, very different than the pharmaceutical industry. So nutraceutical, natural, pharmaceutical is chemical. Pharmaceutical has its place, but because it is the pharmaceutical industry, they can make a lot of claims if you take a medication and it does this or that. But in most cases, it's backed by studies, right? In the nutraceutical space, which is where Zalevo exists, when you're using natural components like botanicals and minerals and proteins, we are not allowed to say that these types of supplements or formulations are going to cure, treat, or prevent any kind of disease or illness. But what we can say is how we're feeling. And if you feel exquisite, then tell the world how you feel, right? And just be careful to leave out any disease, illness, or condition out of the verbiage. So going back to the guidelines, I just handed all of that over to Mitch Hancock's team a couple weeks ago. They've got it on the agenda to do, and they will be compiling a spreadsheet or a PDF so that you guys will have access to that, so that you can teach not only yourselves, but also your teams how to share the compliant story. Because let's face it, when we have really, really neat things happening inside of our bodies, it's hard to control what we're sharing and what we're saying. So as long as we're sharing it in a compliant way, you can share all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from the highest mountaintops. And especially for us moms and dads, when we see really neat things happening within our kids and their health and well-being, of course, it's hard for us to stay within the boundaries of compliance, but it's really important that we do so. Then that way, you don't get in trouble by the FDA, because the FDA can come after you as an individual because you're all entrepreneurs. But then they can also come after Zalevo and give us a warning and cease and desist and a correction. And so we just want to play in the sandbox nice and share it in a way that the FDA is happy about. So.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
So it's always, thank you for that. Yeah, clarification. And guys, I know we kind of sometimes chuckle about it. It's serious, and also it's also up to us to self-police and keep it that way. So, and it's a learning curve for all of us, isn't it, Kjersti?
It is. Yep. And I mean, hey, and here's the bottom line, is that as long as we are striving and we're not habitually violating compliance, that's the most important thing. Because you know what, you might have someone that's brand new that comes into your team. They are your brand new wellness partner. They go ham with their story, but maybe they just don't know the difference. So that's why it's really important to have the tools in place to educate, and for you as leaders and wellness partners to be able to educate properly. Because when you do that, and when Zalevo does that, then there's that paper trail, and there's that standard operating procedure where we are implementing compliance. And of course, there's people that you can teach about compliance that will continually violate, and that's another story. But yeah, it is definitely a learning curve, but one that's fairly easy. It's fairly easy.
Yeah, agree. Everybody agree to that? Raise your hand, raise your feet. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, so back to the topic at hand. We want to honor, if you could even be a god mom or dad, if any role you play is tied to mom, dad, granddad, grandpa, or even you're a child of someone, a mom or dad, raise your hand. We want to honor you, because I never have physically have children, but do I have children because of my beautiful honey and my marriage? Yes, they're like my own. So what a responsibility, isn't it? And each of us have a choice. Every decision we make can either positively or negatively impact our most precious legacy, which is our family. So Kjersti, I know we talked about, just to get rid of the elephant in the room, what are some of the concerns, especially around healthy moms? We talked about, do you want to talk about healthy mom first, or do you want to reverse it on this call? Kjersti, you tell me how we'd like to do that.
I think that, boy, I think what I'd love to do is just kind of go through just some awarenesses, if I may, and just kind of doing some statements and sharing some information and things to watch out for pre, during, and post pregnancy and breastfeeding, and then of course move into the kids later. But I also want to take the time to break down our master formulations and how they can be applicable to men, women, and children when it comes to staying healthy. I know we did a Zoom call the other day, which did not get recorded, and it was specific to healthcare professionals that are taking care of women and helping them to, have healthy pregnancies and to deliver full term, and what to take during pregnancy and what not to take during pregnancy, and especially with nursing moms too, post pregnancy. So we can get into all of that, but I do want to preserve time too for Q&A for sure. So do you want me to just jump right in?
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into some of the concerns.
Okay. So one of the things that, and honestly, this is just some really good guidelines on what to be aware of when we are growing up ourselves, become adults, and choose to start having babies and to procreate. There are things that men can do, and there are things that women can do to prepare their bodies to be incredible machines in the matter of procreation. And the adult body is made up of roughly about 37.2 trillion cells. What's really crazy is you have about 100 trillion microorganisms that live within you and on you. And these microorganisms are bacteria. And bacteria works harmoniously with all of your biochemical processes and reactions, from digestion to nutrient absorption to hormone production, hormone utilization. It's interesting. So here we are, these living creatures where cells are replicating or regenerating and reproducing themselves as a human. And interestingly enough, cells, as they're going through this whole process of reproduction themselves or regeneration themselves, popping out new cells, cloning themselves, it comes time for some of these cells, they can only clone themselves or replicate themselves so many times, and then they die off. And then those ones that have been replicated, those are the ones that take the torch and replicate. And it's this torch being passed from one generation to the next of your cells within your body right now, the cells that will regenerate or reproduce tomorrow, the next day, and so on. And that's how we have a body that can become a brand new body every 3 to 5 years. Is that the cells that are replicating today are not going to be around eventually, but the offspring of those cells will be. The regeneration of those cells replicating themselves. And every time a cell replicates, what gets passed? Blueprints to do it again. And it's in the form of your DNA. You have genes that can literally flip on with proper nutrition and a clean body to repair DNA. As a matter of fact, there are certain components through gene expression that can unravel DNA and put it right back together, just like scaffolding, and repair certain parts of those DNA. When your genes have the ability to heal and repair cells, And so that when you do regenerate those cells, they regenerate healthier, or they regenerate in the same state. Think about the same also goes for a cell who is dysfunctional. They can also regenerate and replicate. So what you do today with your body, how you feed it, how you treat it, how you nourish it, if you are feeding properly, if you're stepping away from the feeding phases and moving into fasting and allowing for other processes to happen within the body, because you are literally stepping away from the dinner plate, all of these things day in and day out really lend to the quality of all of these 37.2 trillion cells. Now comes babies. So babies. And what's interesting is that you can take an egg and a sperm, and upon fertilization, they can actually watch that take place now because of modern science and technology and these scopes that allow us to like actually watch the fertilization take place. And what's fascinating is that when the sperm enters into the egg, when the egg allows for that one sperm to enter in, there's something that's called the zinc spark. And it's the most fascinating thing to watch. You can YouTube this. Don't do it now, because obviously you know, unless you can multitask, but you can go to YouTube, look up zinc spark, and it will literally show you this 1-minute clip of the fertilization of an egg taking place. And what happens is that in that zinc spark moment, that zinc that's on the exterior walls of the egg, actually the zinc explodes out and lands right back down onto the cell.
And you're referring to the mineral zinc?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's wonderful.
And that is the signal of life. It is the signal of life, this zinc spark. From that point forward, cells then start to divide and replicate and divide and replicate. And before you know it, you're at week 4 and 5, and all of a sudden, the brain and spinal cord starts to form. But even before the brain forms at 5 and 6 weeks, the heart has already been formed, because the heart has to grow before the brain does in order for the blood to be able to disperse out through now this tiny little fetus. And then of course the brain and the spinal cord form, then the limbs start to develop shape and start to grow and extend out of the little fetus's body. It is the most fascinating thing. And then of course, eyes are created, teeth are created. And all of a sudden at month 5, they can start to hear you, because their ears and eardrums have been formed inside of the womb, and so on and so forth. So what allows great cell regeneration or replication for this growing mass of this little tiny human being is proper nutrients. And it goes back to building a house. You cannot build a house without a strong foundation. And when it comes to structuring the walls of your house, which would be the structure likened to the structure of your body or the structure of the fetus, you cannot build a house without 2x4s. And then of course comes all of the nails and the glue that holds the 2x4s into the structure. And there's I-beams going through on the floor. There's beam work going in to hold that second floor up, and so on and so forth. There is proper ventilation that's taking place to be able to allow the airflow to circulate through the body. This is much like a house being built is just like a baby being built. You need specific materials. And those materials are known as proteins, minerals, trace minerals, vitamins, botanicals, antioxidants. These are the essence of life and allow the body to build properly. And so going back to men, it takes about 90 days for the sperm to recycle in the testicles. So the sperm that are present today that are leaving a male's body were created about 90 days ago. So if you know anybody that is looking to start a family, have them go through a healthy eating cycle for a minimum of 90 days, which includes fasting. It includes feeding and fasting. That way they're dealing with very nice, high quality sperm when that time comes. When it comes to women, it's time to clean house. It is time to clean the house. If you've got guests coming, you better vacuum and dust, clean your kitchen. Heaven forbid they look inside your fridge, right? I mean, let's just do a little bit of house cleaning, ladies, right? Then, of course, that preps the body. And again, when you feed and nourish your body and you do the proper feeding and fueling and the proper fasting, then again, it allows those genes to flip on and to orchestrate a very tight surveillance within the body, making sure that everything is fully operating and up and running, including the reproductive organs, sperm, and of course, the eggs when it comes to fertilization. The other thing I want to make mention is of course, you can fuel your body and you can fast, but there could potentially be some inadequacies going on in the body when it comes to hormone production. So it's always really, really good to go get your labs done. It's as simple as a couple vials of blood and they can check testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. These are essential hormones for men to be able to produce good quality sperm, high count sperm, and for women being able to prepare her home for this fertilized embryo and to grow a baby. For instance, this is how important it is that if you are deficient in thyroid, if your thyroid gland, ladies, is underproducing, low levels of thyroid when you conceive and you are growing this little baby inside of you can lend to a lower IQ child. So it's been scientifically proven. So make sure that you have those labs done and you know what's going on inside of your body. The other thing is exercise, move your body. Your body was designed to move 3 to 5 days a week. Don't feel like you have to become Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just go hit the gym and move your body, whether it's an elliptical, it's a treadmill, maybe it's water aerobics, maybe it's a dance class at the gym, whatever the case might be, move your body and start to incorporate resistance training. Resistance is anything heavier than the body. And it comes in the form of pulley systems and weights to allow that resistance, and it's far beyond your weight of your body. If you don't know what you're doing when it comes to resistance, hire a trainer 2 or 3 times at $50 a session and have them teach you how to do it. And once you've invested $150, 3 sessions later, you're like, aha, I'm in the gym, I've got this. And it builds your confidence, right? Eat healthy, whole foods, minimize your processed foods, minimize your stress. This helps to, again, help the body keep in that state of homeostasis. Make sure you're getting outside and doing some sun exposure. This means no sunscreen. Now, if it's prolonged periods of time in the sun, maybe you would want to do some natural sunscreen, some good old zinc. I love that. I love Badger, by the way, Badger, which is all natural zinc and it doesn't break you out. I love that. This helps with vitamin D3 synthesis. This is critical in supplementing with D3. As a matter of fact, D3 helps to increase testosterone levels in men by up to 25%, which then feeds into good sperm production. Watch out for toxins. What kind of body products and toiletry items are you using in your bathroom? Go all natural, go 98, 99% plant-based. I promise you it's less toxic on the body and it's less disruptive to the chemical production in your body called hormones. Try to avoid high levels of exposure to estrogen-like chemicals too, such as parabens and BPA. There are toxins found in different various things like plastic. So again, when you are fasting and moving into apoptosis and autophagy, those types of things tend to cycle out and metabolize out of the body. You're giving your body a fighting chance to get these things that can settle into your body out and sweep it out the front door, right? Try to lean out as much as you possibly can. Ideal body weight when you conceive is ideal. You're going to gain 20 to 30 pounds during your pregnancy, ladies. And watch your sugar intake. If, watch your carb loading. You need carbs, clearly, complex carbohydrates. But what you want to avoid is simple carbs in great quantities that's going to cause insulin spiking. Insulin spiking disrupts human growth hormone production, and you want to keep human growth hormone production at an all-time high, which requires you to keep your carb loading in check. Supplementing with things like ashwagandha, which, guys, we've got the very best inside of Fortitude 85, is so powerful. As a matter of fact, a combination of ashwagandha, zinc, and B vitamins can actually increase sperm quantity by up to 74%. And it also helps in the production of testosterone. Sleep in a cool room for guys. It helps with sperm count. Limit alcohol, don't smoke, and increase your proteins. Now, this goes back to something that the Johnsons shared with all of their little kiddos drinking shakes. Anybody and everybody, if you are breathing, you need protein. If you've got teeth, you can drink the shakes. So, we put 4 on the label, but listen, does a 2-year-old, can they drink out of a straw? If so, boom, blend them a shake. And how do you figure out their protein intake and quantity? You do it exactly like you do your own. And you convert their little tiny baby body weight. So if they weigh 35 pounds or if they weigh 50 pounds, you can convert their 50-pound weight, convert it into kilograms, and take a look at what the active is on that scale. And it's about 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. So it could be that a little 50-pound little guy, he could be ingesting, I don't know, you do the math and calculate it out. And Chris, that goes back to you and your lovely wife, is making sure that your 5-year-old isn't overdoing a shake in one sitting, because 30 grams of shake for a 5-year-old in one sitting is way, way, way too much. So you could back down to a half scoop, a full scoop, and kind of make the adjustments accordingly as they get older and their demands increase. If you've got kids that are highly athletic, guess what? That 1.6 might tick up to 1.8 if they're highly athletic and their bodies are developing, especially in puberty. Their bodies are developing in different areas once they hit puberty. Their glands start to develop. Their lean mass starts to all of a sudden increase. Bones tend to elongate, right? This is what causes height and width and takes them from a child to an adult. So in that growing phase, if you can make sure that they've got ample amounts of proteins and minerals and trace minerals, it could be that you could help to add a little bit more comfort to their growing pains, right? Because that's a very typical component to growing. So again, going back to the proteins, just make sure you're calculating at all phases. Now, I want to kind of skip ahead. During pregnancy, if you're using Zalevo as a supplementation, the question that I get asked all the time is, well, can I supplement the shakes for my meals? And the deal is that if you are one to count calories, which I never count calories, I'm always just eating whole foods. The only thing I really count are grams of fat and grams of protein. And of course, your carbohydrates if you're wanting to lose weight. But we don't recommend that once you conceive that you move into this low carb effect, that you're basically driving ketosis at high levels or fat burning at high levels. You really don't want to move into that. So whatever you're doing healthy wise, add 300 to 500 calories more per day, but make sure that those 300 to 500 calories per day added in once you conceive and once you're breastfeeding, because again, it's 500 calories a day just from breastfeeding, that you're using those calories in the forms of proteins, fats, and some carbs. The other thing to focus on is omegas, water, meal pacing, making sure that you're not eating these massive meals. This is going to be very helpful for women who are growing babies that are losing space in their abdomen because of the placenta and the womb itself with amniotic fluid. I mean, us ladies, we like lose our breath all the time. Making sure you're getting enough calcium. We have daily value calcium within our formulation, but if you're forming little bones and ligaments and tendons and everything within this little baby inside of the womb, so make sure your calcium is on point as well as your iron. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of questions in the chat as well.
Yeah.
One was from Pam. When you talked about how nutrition plays this key role in supporting testosterone, hormone production, her question was tied to, is that to a particular, the childbearing years or later in years, or is it for all the whole span?
I love it. It's for the whole span.
Yeah.
It's just that when you're looking for good quality sperm and you're looking to kind of prep your bodies for babies, you know, of course you're going to be dialed in and hyper focused on those things, just because it, you know, it really ensures for some good hormone balance and hormone production. But no, this is lifetime stuff. This is lifetime stuff for sure.
Great question, Pam. Thank you. And then Barb, you had a question? Oh, okay. I saw a hand there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good there. And then one of my questions too was, I know you talked about different supplementation, but also how important is, you know, the new formulation, collagen 300. You know, I know we're going to get more into specific products here in just a moment, but how important is that as you see now that it plays a role in here?
Yeah, I love that. The bottom line is that collagen 300 are 3 peptides tied together, and that's proline, hydroxyproline, and glycine. And those gorgeous little peptides are the peptides out of all of the peptides or the amino acids that you see on that list that actually lend itself to collagen synthesis, and which obviously helps to build 90% of the total collagen within your body. And look at collagen as kind of scaffolding. It's found everywhere to hold and suspend all tissues, whether it's organ, skin, brain matter, you name it. You need the collagen as the scaffolding and the structure to the body, the 2x4s. Muscle requires collagen. Muscle builds faster. Tendons, ligaments, and cartilage build way slower. And it's interesting because even at this point in the game, the stories that we're getting based on results from when we initiated our collagen 300 study back in November, you guys, it is crazy exquisite stuff that's happening, because what's happening now is that you can see visually your skin shifting in 3 to 5 days. But when it comes to tendons, ligaments, joints, cartilage, these areas of the body where it builds much, much slower, because it's a different type of a tissue. It has less blood flow. It doesn't have all of these little capillaries and veins running through it like lean muscle does. And so the build out is slower, but we're seeing some exquisite things. So if it's going to benefit you, it's going to benefit baby. Now, one of the things that I will say is that always consult with your OBGYN before beginning any supplement and get on the same page. You know, if you are wondering on how, like, what should I say? Like, how do I even approach my doctor when it comes to this? Just say, look, I just found an all natural, incredible supplemental line, and I want you to take a look at it, and I want you to monitor me. And is there anything that I need to be aware of? One of the things that they most likely will tell you to avoid is the Fortitude 85, because it is a botanical based formulation. But just ask them if you would like for them, or if they could please monitor you. I will tell you that we just did a call with Kjersti and Heidi, And one of the ladies that was on was a midwife, and she helps to run a practice of obstetrics and gynecology. And so of course she's constantly working with her patients to help them transition their food intake into healthier types of foods and supplement properly. And she analyzed all 10 of our master formulations and went goo goo gaga over them, because there was none of the harmful ingredients that she's typically used to seeing in supplements these days that she doesn't want going into pregnant or lactating women. And so she's going to be putting these master formulations to the test and most likely implementing them into practice. The other doctor that was on the line is a woman's healthcare physician. And she too, she uses all kinds of supplements and all natural products as tools, and in order to benefit her patients as well. And, you know, she's very familiar with meal replacement shakes. She's very familiar with fasting, because in her previous company that she used to endorse in her practice, the results that she was getting, they weren't working anymore, and her patients started feeling sick. And so she had to start looking for a different method, and she found Zalevo, and she's also too getting incredible results. So there are wonderful healthcare professionals out there that do believe in supplementation, that do know that supplementation is a must. And they are very selective on what they recommend, because again, this is their reputation too. Think about it. Here's a healthcare professional works very hard to build a reputation with their patient base, which requires trust and that loyalty. And so they're never going to embrace or recommend or represent any kind of nutritional supplement that is going to be harmful, risky, or affect the reputation of their practice or themselves as a healthcare professional. So, you know, if you know anybody that is visiting or seeing a doctor that doesn't know much on nutrition, there are other ways around that, and just be open and communicate it. Okay, are we ready to move on?
We are.
Okay.
Any other questions right now at this part of the call, guys? Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, ready.
So let's go ahead and start with the Ultra 30s. The Ultra 30s are exquisite protein sources, and it doesn't matter if you're plant-based or if you're whey-based. They're almost identical based on their amino acid profile. You do have an advantage to whey-based when it comes to muscle building. There's almost twice as much leucine in the whey-based than there is in the plant-based. So are you going to feel the difference slightly? Yes, but the plant-based does a beautiful job with lean mass creation and body building and tissue building that's taking place in the body, whether you are pregnant or not pregnant. So, and again, it's all based on your body mass. So convert your body mass into kilos and go for that 1.5, 1.6 on the grams per kilogram of body weight, and calculate it out. With mothers that are pregnant or nursing, this is in addition to their already prepared meals. So make sure that they're not cutting back on their calories. Because if you cut back on calories, guess what you're cutting back on truly? You're cutting back on nutrition. You're cutting back on proteins and fats and some of your carbohydrates. So it's a wonderful, wonderful source for them to be able to have bodybuilding material going into their body. Can kids drink it? If they have teeth and they can drink out of a straw, you better believe it. Again, calculate their little grams of protein with their little body weights. Of course, daddies need the shakes as well. So it's a whole family affair. All right, next is the biomes. Heavens, yes, all the way. No matter if you're pregnant, you're not pregnant, you're lactating, you're not lactating, take the biomes every single day, 1 a day. You don't need 5 a day. You don't need 2 a day. You just need 1 a day. It's that constant trickle and that constant feed of those bacteria strains that go in, open up into the body and repopulate. Now, here's the thing that people, the misconception is that they take a probiotic and then they stop taking it. Well, what happens after you have a bad meal? It is so disruptive to your gut microbiome that it comes in the form of diarrhea, bloating, gassing, discomfort, vomiting in just one bad meal that you could have. So that's a really good share on the sense that daily biome introduction is absolutely fantastic. You could become highly stressed out for the day and it will knock down your good bacteria in your gut like that. You need biomes on those days too. So daily biomes, if whatever is going on inside of the gut of the mother and in her delivery pathway, her birthing canal, that bacteria gets passed to baby. So bacteria gets passed to baby in utero and through the delivery process. And once the baby is born, then the bacteria continues to get transferred from the surface of the breast, because there's specific bacteria that lives on the surface of the breast and within the mammary glands. So when babies are nursing, that bacteria gets passed in, and all of this bacteria helps to build the baby's gut microbiome and helps with immune health. It's the most powerful thing. So to make sure that mom and dad, with all those smoochy kisses on that baby, those baby's lips, make sure that you are feeding your body healthy bacteria. And in regards to kids, I mean, we say that if you can swallow a capsule, take the biomes. There are some parents that are like, I am pulling those caps apart and I'm popping it into the shake. And if you want to do that, you can. You might lose some of the viability to some of those strains because some of them are very sensitive to stomach acids and will die off quickly. But regardless, to give them whatever they need, the viability will drop taking it out of the capsule and putting into the shake, but whatever, right? Some of that bacteria moving into their little bodies every day is going to be incredibly beneficial. And I know there's mommies on the line right now that have seen profound results with their kiddos when it comes to skin health, gut health, focus, cognition, mood, happiness, the list goes on. And these are 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds. It's absolutely amazing. And these kiddos are doing 1 shake a day and the biomes. Biome sync daily. That is it. 1 biome sync daily and 1 shake. It's amazing. So next is eVibe. eVibe has 140 milligrams of caffeine. If someone is not normally used to ingesting caffeine, then for them to start this during their pregnancy or when they're lactating, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Because especially for people that are very sensitive to stimulants, even though this is all natural and it's a buffered caffeine, so it's got a little bit of a slower release and a longer hang time in the body so that you're not popping and dropping with caffeine and energy. That is a beautiful benefit. But there are mamas that drink coffee every morning. Would this be an incredible replacement and substitute? Yes, all day long, because it's got other ingredients that feed into cell energy and cell health, along with antioxidant loads. Next is burn mode. Burn mode, of course, during all fasting moments. Burn mode daily in your little trifecta, right? Look at all that burn mode delicious on the bottom. Yep. 1 stick of burn mode, 1 stick of collagen, 1 stick of eVibe in here. And I made this up this afternoon, and I'm just finishing the last part of this before my dinner tonight. And does it keep me up? It does not, which is kind of amazing. I love that because there's eVibe in there. But I think with so much water and over a longer period of time for me drinking it, it doesn't keep me up. It's amazing. But burn mode, you can be consumed daily. I recommend it. The antioxidant load in just one tiny little stick of burn mode is 2.8 million on the ORAC score. And so what does that mean? Well, we get excited about wild organic blueberries having an ORAC score of 7,000 to 9,000. Everybody's like, praise organic wild blueberries. I'm telling you, 9,000 versus 2.8 million, there is no comparison. It's like holding a tiny match to a raging forest fire when it comes to the scale of antioxidant power. And to put burn mode into your body, just one stick, not two, just one a day. Can you imagine where that is going to set your target health in 5 years? Think about that, because again, going back to the beginning of our presentation tonight, your cells are replicating every second, every day, every week, every month. You've got a new body in 3 to 5 years, one stick of burn mode. What is that equipping you with on a daily basis that literally shifts the trajectory of your health and puts you going a different direction? So, and then of course, burn mode every 4 hours during fasting for sure. Collagen 300. Everything inside of collagen 300 is all natural and safe. People ask about the hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is naturally produced in your body. Your body produces it. It's just that the older we get, the less it produces. So we supplement with it. And it holds 6,000 times its weight in water. So it's a great hydrator. So that's something that would be incredible for placenta health, incredible for amniotic fluid and keeping mommy hydrated, especially with nursing as well. You've got zinc, you have copper, you have A, C, E, biotin. These are all things that move in for skin health. And think about the expanding tummy of a mama and the expanding breasts of a mama when she conceives and she's getting ready to grow that little babes. There's expansion happening with skin. So collagen 300 could absolutely dovetail into that. But again, these are things that you would want to talk to your healthcare professional about to make sure that you're all on board for daily consumption of that. And again, going back to the only one that you really need to be very cautious on is the Fortitude 85. And here's why, is because the adaptogens that are inside of the Fortitude 85, those botanicals, those herbs, they are really designed to play your glands in your body, whether it's pituitary, thyroid, testicles, ovaries, adrenal glands, all these glands, they are designed to play them like an orchestra in bringing this beautiful, harmonious situation forth into the body. So it's all about body balance and keeping that body in that neutral zone, that state of homeostasis. And that is a mature body with mature glands with all of these chemicals or hormones, as they call them, that are being excreted out into the blood, that are moving into cells, that are helping with cell health and cell function. And so a fetus doesn't have this going on yet, guys. A newborn baby that's nursing from mama doesn't have a developed endocrine system yet. And so that's why we caution on Fortitude 85. Now, in some extreme circumstance with maybe extreme stress or something like that, it would probably be of benefit for mom to consult with an OBGYN on Fortitude 85 in maybe those really super stressful moments. But again, that's up to her, and it's up to the healthcare provider to have that conversation. And with that, I think we've covered all of our master formulations.
I do believe we have, and all incredibly powerful formulations. So other questions, guys? I know we've covered a lot here, and I do want to ask an apology for one lady on the line in particular, and she's the reason we're having this call tonight. It was one of my, awesome platinum founders, thanks to Kjersti Childress and the team there and Kara. And so her name's Heidi Grazzini. Heidi, you have some amazing kiddos, pretty pretty big age range there. One incredibly high level active performing, one little whippersnapper still at home there. So I'd love to hear more about that. So Kjersti, is it okay if we step aside for a moment again? And I do want Heidi to share about what's happened with her family. Go ahead, Miss Heidi.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, our story, my family story is, I mean, nothing short of a miracle, I'll say. Speaking just from the nutrition standpoint, I have a daughter, 14 years old, who is a competitive dancer. And one of the things that literally kept me up at night was worrying about her body and how she was being fed to just keep up with what she did on a daily basis. As much as I tried to push, the macros, healthy, eating whole and clean and reducing, sugar intake, she just had some really poor habits, and it was almost impossible to just get her, number one, to curb her sugar addiction. I will legitly call it a sugar addiction, because it really drove all of her, the nutrition that she was trying to get on a daily basis. It's like, once you're on that sugar train, it was like impossible to get her off. That then led into a lot of other just issues. She did have skin issues. She's 14 years old, so we're approaching the hormone aspect of everything. That's in full throttle. But really it was just, once she got these formulations into her body, which we just started with the biomes and the Ultra 30 whey, it was like what Kjersti just said about this symphony taking place within her body is exactly what happened. The color of her skin, I mean, her skin went from just kind of dull looking, sickly circles under her eyes to glowing. She was sleeping better. Her moods were way more stable. But the most miraculous thing that took place was this sugar addiction that ruled her days was almost instantly. The way I describe it, it was like it rewired her taste buds, and or the connection that her brain had with her body, and her body being flooded with this incredible nutrition. It stopped it, like almost at a halt. We were at a birthday party, and usually she's like, forget the dinner, where's the cupcakes, where's the cookies, where's the cake? And we got to cake time, and she took like 2 bites and literally made eye contact with me across the room and pushed the cake out of the way and was like, this tastes gross, like I can't even stomach it. And I'm pinching myself because I'm like, what's taking place? And all of that just compounded. I mean, she started feeling better. She had more energy. Her athletic performance was improving. Her cognitive, she's homeschooled, so it was like she was just staying more focused and wasn't so tired. She was sleeping better. Even like stress. I mean, she puts a lot of stress on herself because she's a perfectionist, and I don't know where she gets that from. But it was like, once we started utilizing the other formulations, when we saw the benefits to what was happening to her with just those simple 3 ones, it was like, I mean, I remember calling Kjersti and calling Kathy and like, what else can I give her? What else can I put in her body? And she's just had the most, I mean, she was at a sleepover the other day, and the mom was driving these girls to dance, and the mom looked kind of through the rearview mirror at her and was like, Carly, what skin regimen do you use on your face? Like, your skin is glowing. And Carly goes, oh, I don't really use anything special on my face. She goes, but I use Zalevo. And she's like, what's Zalevo? And she's like, oh, Zalevo, how did she say it? Not saved my life. She was like, Zalevo changed my life, is what she said. And so then she started telling her about the protein and the collagen and what it's done for her. And for sake of keeping it short, this is just the tip of the iceberg as far as what, Carly has experienced with these formulations. But what it's done to her beautiful little body from a nutrition standpoint is profound. Absolutely profound.
Yeah. Well, anybody else feel the gratitude and the joy in this mom?
I love it. Heidi, you have so many stories just coming out of your team. It's amazing. It is so amazing. The amazing shifts and changes in people's bodies. I do want to share a little bit about why all of this is happening with your daughter. And it has to do with the good versus the bad. The good versus the bad bacteria. And I know that I shared that mommy passes bacteria, whether it's good or bad to baby, but so does dad, just through the handling and care of these children. And then of course, everything goes in the mouth. They crawl, hands in the mouth, right? You take them anywhere public, they touch, hands in the mouth. It's the hand to mouth thing that is just literally bringing in different microbes, whether it's good or bad, into the body. And if the good bacteria is substantial enough, there's no room for the bad bacteria to really take hold and really take off and thrive. But these days, guys, in comparison to growing up on the farm 150 years ago, what our bodies are combated with bad bacteria is taking its toll. There is absolute links, scientifically proven links from gut health and the imbalance of good bacteria versus bad when it comes to autism, Asperger's, ADD, ADHD. These are scientifically proven connections here. And so one of the things that does take place, and this is why, okay, the battle is constantly underway inside of the body. Don't ever think for a second that the battle is over and you're set for life. This is why daily consumption of probiotics with reintroducing those good strains allows the bad bacteria to stay at bay. When bad bacteria grows in mass quantities, and it could be just because if it gets to take holding, guess what's going to happen? It's going to increase inflammation in the body. Bad bacteria overgrowth will increase inflammatory response in the body, causing issues with digestion, detoxification, and nutrient absorption. And when your body can't get what it needs and there's inflammatory response happening in the body, it feeds into the vicious cycle. So you get stuck in this whirlpool and you can't get out. So good bacteria is like the raft that lifts you up out of the whirlpool and gets you going down the river again. And so daily consumption of good probiotics is really critical. When bad bacteria is thriving, okay, it influences neurotransmitters in the brain. How in the heck is this? And so this is where the gut is known as the second brain. You've got a brain here, and without this is like your human operating system. Everything signals to the brain signals back. It's all these signals, and this is what causes you to be able to breathe and digest, and for hormones to be produced, insulin, whatever the case is. And the gut is its own ecosystem in and of itself. It is not dependent on the brain telling it what to do. These are things that live within you, and you're the host. It's its own little universe, and it's known as the second brain. So what's interesting is that you've got good and you've got bad bacteria within this universe of bacteria in your body. And when the bad heightens and the good lowers, the bad loves sugar. And when you cut the sugar, or when sugar sources run low in the body, there's signals that take place from bad bacteria that pop to the brain, affecting this neurotransmitting effect. And the brain responds in sending cravings. And it has to do with GABA, G-A-B-A. If sugar drops, bacteria can help to produce GABA in the brain, in the body, which then increases these sugar cravings. And it's this vicious cycle. This is the same thing with an alcoholic, someone who is using alcohol as a vice, not just sugar. You can be a sugar alcoholic or you can be a liquor alcoholic. Both sugar and alcohol convert into glucose, and it will absolutely impact your gut microbiome. And it is absolutely an addiction. It is not something that is just like, oh, stop eating the gummy bears. No, it is really like life or death, this feeling, this sensation. So keep the probiotics going in daily, because eventually the good will win and the bad will tank. I was talking to someone the other day who had a very extreme gut situation when they got started on Zalevo. And they took one trim and one daily every day. And she goes, not only was I able to kick my sugar cravings completely out the door, but you know what? Is this normal? I was going number 2 so much. And I'm like, of course you were. She goes, why was I going number 2 so much? I'm like, if you have 100 trillion to gosh, I think it's 1 quadrillion, depending upon who you are, 1 quadrillion bacteria in your body, down to 100 trillion. These are like countless organisms. When you shift good versus bad, where's the bad going? The body has to break down the bad microorganisms and out the door they go. So as the good piles in and the bad comes out or dies off, there is a metabolic breakdown and excretion of that material that is no longer needed. So it might increase the poopies. I just don't know, but very little interesting side note there.
I think we're giving Mariah an education. Mariah is enjoying the topic as well. I love that. So yeah, and the biome, yeah, the gut is essential, isn't it, guys? So thanks. It's fun to see the stories, young and old, all ages. Well, Kjersti, as always, these calls are they're so needed. This information is so needed for all moms, dad, grandmoms, granddads, kids, and because they are our future, and their bodies, especially the youngsters, man, their little bodies need great nutrition. So what's a closing thought? What's a call to action here for those watching this?
Yeah, the call to action is that when you learn stuff like this, some people, especially when they're, moving into baby bacon, they think, oh my gosh, what have I done to my body? Like I've been doing this, I haven't been doing that, and they feel inadequate. And the answer to that is just knowledge is power. And it empowers you to make really, really good decisions. What you can do in your body in 30 days and turning your health and well-being around and cleaning the house and getting some work done internally, not as a whole, also cellular, down to that cellular level, you could do some pretty profound things. And I think that David Hinton's story is testament to that. And I know every single one of you are here tonight because you have testament of some sort of life-changing thing that happened to your body within 5 days, 2 days, 2 hours, 2 weeks, whatever the case is. So those that are learning of this, it's never too late to get started. It's never too late to turn your health and well-being around. And that goes for everybody, no matter what age, whether you're moving into childbearing years or not. And just to give yourself some grace and put the good things in, still live your life, still eat the cheesecake on the holidays, still go on the cruise and eat the, twisted ice cream cone on deck 4. Whatever it is that you guys are needing, go and live your life and have fun, just everything in moderation, and make sure by all means that if you're going to go live it up and splurge a little here and there, that the good stuff goes in the body first and then you splurge, right? And that's my message, and I'm sticking to it.
Or we're sticking with you. So yeah, thank you. Love and light to you. I'm going to hand it back to our main hostess, Miss Jill Berth Iverson, please.
I was just missing deck 4. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get to deck 4.
Yeah, where the ice cream is. Yeah.
Yeah, those ice cream cones, they are just so great. Kjersti, thank you. You know, I typed it in the chat, but I wish I would have known this information back when I was, you know, in my childbearing years. And I mean, I remember telling my husband I was going to the gym and I would go get ice cream and sit on the grass and eat it at the church. Like I just did not treat my body the way that I know now, you know, what could be done. But thankfully, we know this for our posterity, right? For our kids and for those of you that are on the call that are in childbearing years. So thank you so much for the information.
Yes, Jill, one last thing, because you just said something that just, when same with me when I was pregnant, I just, you had no clue. You just took your prenatal vitamin every day and that was it, and you just like the prenatal vitamin with burgers and fries, like nobody knew, right? And as a matter of fact, in my former life, guys, cosmetologist, I did hair and nails and asked me if I wore gloves.
No.
And how many times have I said that whatever comes in contact with your skin shows up in your urine within a matter of 30 minutes to an hour?
Right in.
Yeah, right in. Here I am rolling perms, touching perm chemicals, right? Like what was I thinking? I would do acrylic nails and inhale this stuff. And I remember when I was like 5 months pregnant, first baby, I go in for my monthly well check and I said, hey doc, I'm in a salon breathing like hairspray and this and that. And he goes, oh, don't you worry. It's totally fine. The placenta is the barrier. And I go, really? And he goes, yes, you have this ginormous organ that is literally the gateway and the gatekeeper from you to your baby. And I'm like, so is it not getting this? And he goes, absolutely not. Well, that is completely false. Now with modern science, we know what's inside of cord blood. Now, and the interesting thing with cord blood is it goes from the placenta to the baby's tummy, not outside on the other wall of the placenta. And so they can test cord blood and see all different types of delicious chemicals inside of that cord blood that, of course, your new unborn baby that hasn't even taken its first breath yet has been exposed to. And some of those chemicals are neurologically disturbing. Very much neurologically disturbing, cancer-causing chemicals. So, again, you can't escape everything, but you could certainly make some good choices when it comes to what you're putting in on your body and what's within your home too. So I just wanted to pass that on that, there's no, the myth of it being that the placenta catches it all. That's not the case.
I love that. It just brought back the memories of me being a dental assistant and playing with the little mercury balls without gloves. I'm like, what was I thinking back in the day? But I just didn't know, So thank you for letting us know that, because I was also told that same thing, that the placenta was the barrier. So, oh, wow. I mean, who loved this call? Give us like some hands. It was just so informational, and we love and adore you. Not just because of your incredibly talented, intelligent brain, but for who you are as a person. For those of you that don't know this, Kjersti and I have been really great friends for almost 20 years, and she's had my back every single time, all the way, all these 20 years. And so I'm grateful for your knowledge and inspiration, and also for your friendship and who you are as a person and as a friend. And we love and adore you. So thank you.
I love you too. Thank you. Ditto, ditto.
Yes.
Also for Swayze and Heidi.
Yes.
And
the
our
Johnsons.
And for the
beautiful lady
Johnsons.
and the Johnson family. Thank you for your stories and the beautiful thing you're doing for yourselves and your children. Thank you for sharing from your hearts tonight. That was beautiful.
Very beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so just a couple of things, and then we'll tell Kjersti goodbye. We have our Pulse call tomorrow night. And at the same time, we also have our servant leader chats on Monday and Friday mornings, 6:30 Mountain Time, super early in the morning, but everyone loves them. I haven't been on recently, but I will get back on. And Also, we have our Wednesday night live streams at 6 p.m. as well, Mountain Time, onto our Facebook pages. And we have our blitzes as well. So check your little image that we have all the call schedule on, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night on the Pulse call. So I just want everyone to unmute, and we're going to say 1, 2, 3. Robert, what's the core value for the week?
Core value for the week, be believing.
Okay, so we're going to say be believing, and then we're going to tell Kjersti, thank you so much. So ready, everybody unmute. And on the count of 1, 2, 3.
Be believing.
Thank you, Kjersti.
Thank you,
Love you,
thank you,
Kjersti.
Kjersti.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Amazing.
you,
Wonderful
Heidi
call.
and
Thank you.
Swayze and
Thank you. Thank you.
the
I
Jack
want
Love
to
you,
go
everybody.
back and have
And
my
thank you,
8 kids
Jim.
again, this time in a healthier manner.
And that's what I said. After the call we had, that was the 2 women healthcare professionals. I was like, I want to go make a Zalevo baby.
I'm not sure my wife wants to go back through it, though. She did all the work.
My husband
Kathy
either.
would go for that.
Jim, I
No.
want to hear the conversation between you and your wife.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know,
Love y'all.
biblically, they used to have babies at 80 and 100. It's just
Right.
crazy. What the heck, you know?
Yeah.
Hey,
All
Jim,
right, all right.
if you were to have a baby right now, because you know you're just young one still, it would probably come out of the womb with a cape, a Z cape coming out of its back. Like,
No doubt.
Superman.
Love you all.
Love you
Thank
guys.
you for that.
Bye.
Z to all
Thank
of
you.
you. Bye-bye.
See you guys.